Personal training is a versatile career. It can be done in many formats and with many different group sizes. These include one-on-one, small group, large group, in-person, and online. Online training, or virtual training, is quickly becoming the fastest growing way for trainers to reach clients. If you decide to do some or all of your personal training online, you'll still be assessing clients, building and delivering exercise programming, and helping them make adjustments. That won't change. But this training type will require you to be a little more organized, prepared, and communicative with your clients. Here are some tips for you as a new trainer moving into the virtual training space. First, you need to decide how you'll be delivering your programming. Will you type or write out workouts and send it to a client to do on their own? Will you use a training app to deliver your content? Or will you be live on camera to coach the client through their workout? Or will you do a combination of both? For assessments, you'll need to determine how you'll conduct posture and movement assessments. Will it be in person for local clients or live video and you talk the client through the assessment? And how often will you have clients reassess, weigh in, or take measurements? When it comes to forms, client intake paperwork can be sent electronically as attachments, or they can be done online as long as they're stored securely. You'll also need to establish how you'll be communicating with your clients and how often. Will you text or call clients? Or is email your preferred method of contact? Can they expect daily or weekly communications? And how will they reach you if they have questions? There's a lot to consider with virtual personal training, but the most important step is setting expectations with the clients, both what they can expect from you and what you expect from them as they move through their program. In the US, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, or HIPAA, is a legislation that protects what's known as protected health information. This is defined as any information held by a covered entity which concerns health status, provision of health care, or payment for health care that can be linked to an individual. Technically, this applies to healthcare providers like doctors and dentists, but it may also apply to you, especially when clients are providing you with letters from their doctors or have referrals from you or to you from other healthcare providers. The forms and documents that a fitness professional collects from a client will contain personal information, things like medical history, contact information, and demographic details. This must be kept in confidence and stored securely to protect each client's privacy and personal information. This means client forms and paperwork should not be stored on a clipboard, on a desk plain in sight, or in a folder in a drawer. Ideally, keep all client forms in a locked cabinet and be sure to keep them organized for easy reference. Outside the United States, HIPAA may apply in certain countries, but there are other pieces of legislation that protect the privacy and data of healthcare patients and people in general. In the United Kingdom and Spain, the General Data Protection Regulations, or GDPR, applies. In the European Union, it's the Data Protection Directive. India recognizes the guidelines of the American HIPAA, while in Germany, it's the German standard of HIPAA, which is slightly different. In China, they have the Personal Information Protection Law, and in South Africa, there is the Protection of Personal Information Act. It's your responsibility as the fitness professional to research and understand the privacy laws that may govern or how you collect, handle, and store client information during and after an exercise program. Understanding the principles of fitness allows us to better serve our clients. We use them to make science-based decisions about health and fitness programming for clients. The general adaptation syndrome is an example of one of those principles. Also known as the GAS principle, it describes how the human body responds to a new stress or stimulus. The GAS principle is a three-phase process. Those phases are the alarm phase, the resistance phase, and the exhaustion phase. The alarm phase is when the body experiences a new stress or stimulus. Stress can come in many forms, but for our purposes, we'll focus on the stresses imposed on the body through exercise. During the alarm phase, the new stress may come from heavier weight, faster speeds, or slower recovery times, to name a few. These new stresses set off an alarm in the body, telling the body that it needs to respond. The resistance phase comes after the new stress has been introduced. It is when the body makes biological changes. These changes can be bigger, stronger muscles, greater endurance, or a better ability to recover. After repeated exposure to the new stress, the body can build up resistance to it. In the fitness world, we see this as adapting to the exercise, which elicits positive change in the body. The right amount of stress or exercise was done, and the body adapted to the stress. The exhaustion phase is the phase we want to avoid in training. This is when a new stress or stimulus has been introduced and it was too much. Either overtraining or under-recovering is occurring, and now the body is unable to adapt properly. Strength and performance may go down, excessive soreness and stiffness may be present, and even a negative change in attitude may occur. There can also be an increased risk of injury. Let's say you decide to start doing push-ups every day. This would be considered a new stress on the body and put you in the alarm phase. Assuming it's the right amount of stress, over time you'll be able to do more push-ups and you will see more changes in the chest, arms, and core. This is an example of the resistance phase. If you overdo it and apply too much stress to the body, or don't allow your body enough time to recover, you may not experience any positive adaptations. And you may end up with muscles that are sore all the time. Now you're in the exhaustion phase. The gas principle teaches us that when exercising, more does not always mean better. Becoming resistant to new stresses takes time. If your client is constantly sore, tired, and not seeing any results, they may need to decrease the intensity or frequency for a period of time to allow the body to recover.
The warm-up and cool-down are essential elements of a fitness program. They serve specific physiological purposes for preparing the body for activity and starting the recovery process after exercise. A warm-up before activity has many benefits. It increases heart rate and blood flow, and in turn increases oxygen delivery to the muscles. It will increase body temperature, which helps warm the muscles and make them more pliable. It can increase the mobility of synovial joints. It can increase the neuromuscular connection between the brain, the nerves, and the muscle cells. And a warm-up can increase the ability of the muscles to contract as they get warm. Warm-ups can be general or specific. General warm-ups work to warm the body, increase the heart rate and blood flow, and increase overall muscle pliability. Activities like walking on a treadmill or warming up on an elliptical machine are general warm-ups. A specific warm-up is just that, more specific. The specific warm-up movements completed will be based on the planned activity or movements for the upcoming workout session. For example, someone preparing to run a 10K race can perform a dynamic warm-up that focuses on activating and warming up their hip flexors, glutes, calves, core, and shoulders. They may perform lunges, dynamic rotations, skips, shoulder flexion and extension, and even a light jog to prepare these muscles for the pending activity. Specific warm-ups also apply for a weight training session. For example, a client is about to train their legs and they plan to do loaded squats and lunges. Their general warm-up may begin on a piece of cardio equipment for a few minutes. Then their specific warm-up should mimic the movements they're about to perform. They may do some bodyweight squats, lunges, or core rotations. They can also make use of flexibility modalities like myofascial release for overactive muscles that could hinder their planned movement patterns like the calves, quadriceps, or hip flexors. The cool down is just as important as the warm-up, but is often skipped. Cooling down after exercise allows the blood pressure, heart rate, breathing rate, and body temperature to gradually return back to normal. During a cool down, the body is working to remove the metabolic waste products that have built up during exercise. Lactic acid in the muscles is flushed out, and excess carbon dioxide is cleared from the lungs. Research has found that a cool down can also help relax the sympathetic nervous system. That's the branch of the nervous system that responds during stress with fight or flight. And exercise is a stress on the body. Slowing the breathing rate with deep breaths during a cool down will work to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the branch that controls the energy-conserving rest and digest functions of our body when it's balanced or in homeostasis. Some common cool-down activities include dynamic and static stretching, slow-paced walking, myofascial release, and deep breathing practices.
Fitness facilities can potentially be a hotspot for germs and disease. Sweat, heavy breathing, and lots of people touching equipment can create the perfect storm for the easy spread of certain fungi, bacteria, or viruses. Some of the most common communicable diseases in fitness spaces are skin conditions or respiratory infections. As a trainer, you're responsible for keeping clients safe, so it's essential to be aware of some of the ways you can minimize the spread of disease in your workspace. One of the easiest things you can do is encourage clients to skip the gym if they feel sick or have any kind of skin rash or infection. Bacteria, fungus, and viruses can all survive on surfaces for varying periods of time, so it's also important to ensure proper cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting protocols are done regularly for a shared equipment like weights and yoga mats. The same applies to wet towels, surfaces that can come in contact with sweaty gym clothes, and wet gym floors. Fungi thrive in warmth and moisture and can be spread if they come into contact with the skin. Encourage clients to always wear flip-flops in the locker room and never go barefoot anywhere in the gym. Skin infections can spread by getting into the cracks, small cuts, or even hair follicles on the skin. For this reason, minor cuts and scrapes should be covered well before training. It's not realistic for every piece of gym equipment to be wiped down after every use unless clients and members also take responsibility for this task. Encourage and remind them that they can help keep everyone safe, one wipe at a time.